Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we are going to be talking about Gabbie Hanna, because if you didn't know, over on Twitter and TikTok over the last 24 to 48 hours, a massive situation has kind of unfolded. It actually resulted in Gabbie Hanna trending on Twitter. I know that there was some TikTok lives and whatnot that had upwards of 16,000 viewers, and it's a very unfortunate situation. I think it's one that most people really don't understand all too well, especially if you've never witnessed somebody in your personal life or even yourself personally experienced not even just a horrible mental health crisis, but to experience psychosis or a manic episode or something like that is something completely different. It's something that most people simply don't understand. They've never had to experience it. They've maybe never even witnessed anyone experience it. For a lot of people, their only experience with these kind of things are what they see in movies or on television or what they hear about from other people. So they're not really the most well-equipped to make comments or speak on a situation like this. And that's not really to say that nobody can talk about this if they've never dealt with it or anything, but I feel like it's a very touchy subject that people should really take more seriously, if that makes sense, because you have a lot of people who, they're making jokes about this and they're laughing at her in this situation, and I get it. I am one who's always defended comedy. I think you can make a joke about anything, and even in this situation, I really do think you can make jokes, but at the end of the day, you also have to realize that we're in a time right now where the victim or the target of your joke is going through a severe mental health crisis. And when you just kind of pile on in that way and you don't really add anything to the conversation or show any indication that you actually want to help this person or hope that they see their way through it, right? It's gonna make people call you an asshole, if that makes sense. I mean, like I said, you can say whatever you want, you can tell whatever kind of joke you want, but there is consequences to that. People are not going to respond very well, especially in a situation like this. So Gabbie Hanna, for those of you who don't know, is actually a pretty popular YouTuber, or was, I don't know. I never really watched Gabbie Hanna's content, to be completely honest with you. The most I've really known about Gabbie Hanna over the years has really kind of involved what people call her moments of spiral, right? Where she'll have a mental health crisis, she'll say or do a bunch of pretty wacky stuff, to be honest, and then, that's kind of what takes over the news around her name. This is actually probably one of the most severe mental health crises that we've ever really witnessed from a YouTuber, or really any influencer at all. I mean, it's very clear that she's going through something here that people don't really know about or understand. We don't really know what caused this or what's really led to this happening, but Gabbie Hanna has both created a massive amount of controversy and a massive amount of sympathy regarding this situation. Now, personally, I'm more or less on the side of sympathizing with her, right? Because personally, I've dealt with my own mental health issues throughout my life. I'm a medicated person. I've had to go to therapy before. I've had to see psychiatrists before. And it's not a fun experience. It's really something that destroys the quality of your life, if it makes sense, to constantly have to deal with mental health episodes and crises and things like that. It's not a fun situation. It's not something that I would ever wish on anybody. It's honestly a very tough battle to go through, and the toughest thing about mental health battles is oftentimes they don't manifest themselves in the way that Gabbie Hanna's has, right? You might not film TikToks of you talking about homeless babies preventing you from sleeping, and putting that out on TikTok and whatnot. It sometimes is a silent battle that people go through that only their closest friends and family know about. Now, Gabbie Hanna's situation is different because it is in the public limelight. She's been posting content to TikTok. There's been all kinds of stuff going around about it, and a lot of people are just kind of involved in it now, you know what I mean? Talking about it, sharing this content, whatnot. So I just want to show you a little bit of what's going on so you can kind of see for yourself what exactly Gabbie Hanna's doing. I am going to go ahead. I know that a lot of people cringe when you say trigger warnings and stuff. This is a pretty serious situation. There are millions of people out there that struggle with mental health, and seeing other people in situations like this can bring up trauma for some people. So I do really genuinely want to say that this is a trauma warning. If you've ever had a mental health crisis where you've had manic episodes or anything, honestly, reconsider watching this part, because it is probably pretty tough to watch.
I have a genuine question. Give me genuine answers. Let's open up a discourse. Why is it that when a black woman sings the praises of Jesus, gospel, yes, Lord! Yes, Lord! Preach, brother! Preach, sister! Why is that okay? Why is that okay? What do they know that we don't? Maybe that's why we're so fucking scared of black people. Is it because they have some type of power? But then when the white man found that power, they did everything they could to take it away. And for thousands of years, not on Father Time's. Watch your mouth. Out with soap. He might just do it for you. By the way, Nick?
Yes.
I know you know who I am. Come on. Why did you lie to me this whole time? Why did you lie to me? That's for my acne, you dumb cunt. Get the fuck out of my house. Now. Sleep. God, I wish I could sleep. I can't wait to sleep. God, please let me sleep. But I can't today. Because there's babies dying on the fucking street. There's babies dying on the motherfucking street. You know, I saw a TikTok back when I was still using TikTok of babies on the street who adopted another baby on the street. 2 homeless babies adopting each other on the street, and they held hands all the way down the street. And he was speaking, and the mother said he's praying for him. The homeless baby praying for the other homeless baby. Wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up before we go to sleep. Wake the fuck up! There's babies on the street!
So I wanted to show you a few clips of what exactly I'm talking about here, and as you can see, she's clearly not well. She's just saying random things, you know, just hyper-fixated on, like, what seems to be very, like, not trivial issues, but issues that don't affect most people on this level, right? And it's pretty clear based on her social media activity and everything going around that she's basically in the midst of a massive mental crisis, right? And this isn't the first time that this has happened with Gabbie Hanna. She has a very long recorded history of having problems with her mental health. And I feel like a lot of people kind of forget that, you know? A lot of people are kind of reacting to this situation like this is the first time something like this has happened. Gabbie Hanna has kind of unfolded on multiple different occasions on social media. We've seen this before, not necessarily to this degree, I will say. This is probably one of the worst instances she's had, if not the worst instance, but it goes way deeper than this, right? Like, it goes deeper than just what you saw. In fact, I want to talk about a few different situations that have unfolded over the last few days with Gabbie Hanna. No one's talking about the fact that Gabbie Hanna not only followed a car almost to their home today and also made concerning comments about children being, quote, forbidden fruit. Like, this is genuinely disturbing. I hope someone stops this soon. People are joking about refreshing Gabbie Hanna's TikTok so they can keep up with her videos while she goes through a public mental health crisis. A random guy entered her home and is now talking about her on live with 16,000 viewers. All of this is so voyeuristic and gross. Gabbie Hanna speaking on black women and saying black women naturally embody the Holy Spirit because black mothers are always left to raise their babies alone when the father leaves is absolutely foul and fucked up. So these are just a few reactions to some of the things that Gabbie Hanna has said or done over the last few days through her social media outlets. Now, obviously, I want to start with probably the most overall concerning one, the fact that she literally let a complete stranger, at least from what we know, a complete stranger into her home to participate basically in like a TikTok live that she was doing. So yeah, during one of these TikTok lives, literally a random guy from the streets just shows up, like basically a stalker or something, comes to Gabbie Hanna's house, she lets him in, he's basically recording inside of her house and everything. And obviously, I think pretty much everybody with a brain can kind of see what the problem is with that. You should never let strangers into your house in the first place. But on top of that, especially in the midst of a psychotic episode or like a mental crisis like this, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different horrible outcomes that could have been possible by just letting a random man into your house, you know? Thankfully, nothing too severe happened, like he didn't rob her or like hurt her in any way. But obviously, this has concerned a ton of people because who does this? You know what I mean? Who just lets people in like this? Well, of course, she's going through a severe mental episode, so she's not really all there right now. You know what I mean? She doesn't really have the same probably critical thinking skills that she should have. And she's going through like a mental crisis. She's saying and doing very erratic things. She's even made some comments that people have deemed to be racially insensitive. So now on top of people making fun of her for her mental health episode, people making fun of her for everything going on social media. Now you also have an entirely different side now, basically calling her racist and saying that she shouldn't be excused from saying racist shit because she's going through a mental episode. I think the most important thing right now, 100%, is the fact that we should be worried about whether or not Gabby Hanna can make it through this, you know? Not to say that she's gonna kill herself or anything like that, or that she's immediately a threat to herself, but I mean, people who are going through serious mental crises like this, they oftentimes, you know, either reject help or they don't have help around them, you know? A lot of people say things like, oh, well, why isn't the family stepping in? Why aren't friends stepping in? You know, you got to consider a lot of people simply don't have that family structure that maybe you grew up with. And that's not the comment specifically on Gabby Hanna's situation. I don't know what her family life and her friend's life is like, but there really are some people out there that are simply just kind of alone in the world. And even for some people, and I know this firsthand as somebody who has significantly struggled with mental health, a lot of the times the people who are around you in your life simply just don't understand. They don't know how to help. You know, they're not qualified or trained to step in a situation like this. In an instance like this, the best thing that can really happen is for professional mental help services to try and help Gabby. That's my opinion, at least. I don't really see how there's a better way to really solve this. But once again, sometimes in the midst of episodes like this, people reject help, and it's because they're mentally ill. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. Sometimes you're just too mentally far gone, if that makes sense, that you just reject help. You don't take it, even if it's there. And so a lot of people, you know, are criticizing over this, and they're making jokes and all kinds of different things. And I feel like right now, the number one priority should be Gabby Hanna's health. You know what I mean? Like, people should be, I feel like, more worried about her as a person. Like, yes, to most of us, she is just a person on a screen. We have no personal connection with her, but that doesn't mean that that's not a human being on the other end of the screen. Like, she's clearly not herself right now. So I feel like not to say that she's excused from everything she's saying, because she is saying some pretty crazy things, but I feel like this isn't really the moment to criticize her, you know what I mean? Like, she's still in the midst of a pretty severe episode, and people seem to be more focused on the fact that she said some pretty outlandish shit. And I feel like a lot of that really comes back to just how people act on social media. You know, you got all these people on social media that preach things like, oh, we need to do more for people's mental health. Mental health awareness matters. But then when people go through these mental crises, and when people go through these horrible situations that are legitimately life endangering, they are the first people to criticize or to point fingers or to laugh at these people who go through situations like this. And once again, that's not to excuse what she said and to say that it makes it okay because she's going through something, but this isn't the real Gabby Hanna talking. And in a lot of situations like this, it's not really ever the real person behind that person talking. The inconvenient truth for a lot of these social media activists and people who are just now kind of seeing this for maybe the first time, this is what real mental health crises look like. This is what mental health looks like in general. And not to take, you know, or distract attention away from the situation, but just imagine the millions of other people around the world that are suffering through the exact same thing that Gabby Hanna is suffering through right now. It is a legitimate problem. Mental health is a legitimate problem that we as a society need to take more seriously. And it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's some goofy influencer that you've been following for years. It doesn't matter if it's your brother. It doesn't matter if it's the guy who works at the gas station down the street. It should always be taken seriously, and people should always care. At the end of the day, yes, Gabby has said some pretty outlandish shit during this whole period of time. She said some things that people might find funny because of how, you know, ludicrous that they are. But at the end of the day, she is a person who is genuinely suffering through something. And I hate to bring this up, but I feel like it's a pretty good example of, you know, what I'm talking about here, right? Etika. Just a few years ago, a YouTuber by the name of Etika had a pretty significant mental crisis unfold, and people online basically mocked him and made fun of him. His fans called him a clown, and basically he was not taken seriously by a lot of people. And he was making very clear, you know, indications that he was mentally unwell and that there was a pretty significant situation happening. And everyone just laughed at him and made fun of him. Well, not everybody, but most people laughed at him, made fun of him, criticized him, called him an attention seeker, all kinds of different things. And at the end of the day, Etika ended up jumping off a bridge in New York and committing suicide. And it seems like a lot of people online at that point in time were like, oh, we'll never let this happen again. This is the point in time where we have to start taking creators' mental health seriously, and we have to start really caring about people on a more personal level. But then just a few years later, another situation's kind of unfolding. I don't want to say the same situation because it's not really the same, but another situation unfolds, and it seems like a lot of people kind of forgot about that, and they kind of forgot about that, you know, that effort, that promise that a lot of people made to take this more seriously. And there's a lot of people who are like, okay, well, what if she's faking this for attention and content? What if this is all actually bullshit? She's making it up on the off chance that this isn't real. What happens then? If that is the case, and that's a very big if, because I actually genuinely believe this is real and a serious issue, but if she were to fake something like this, I genuinely believe that would be the end of her career. I don't see a way to come back from something like that. If you were to fake something like this and say so much just out there type of shit and just do all of this and get everybody all worried like this and then just come out like, oh, haha, LOL, funny joke, like, that would genuinely significantly piss a lot of people off. And honestly, that would include me too. So I don't know, man, a lot of you might think that, oh, I'm just too sympathetic, or I care too much, or, you know, I'm putting too much trust into Gabbie Hanna here, but personally, I just think that it's a serious situation. I think that it's probably best handled offline. Like, if someone can step in and help her, that's probably for the best, but I feel like just a lot of people overall are really missing the point in this entire situation. She's mentally unwell and she really needs help. It doesn't make her a bad person, it doesn't make her a weak person, but she needs help. She needs someone to step in and potentially save her life, or save her career, or save her mental state, or do something, you know what I mean? Because this is real. This is the real side of mental health. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, hoping Gabbie Hanna gets better, and signing out.